Millennials, let's talk about some home buying tips that can make a real impact. I know you're savvy and you're not here for basic advice. You're looking for no BS, real talk about the challenges you face, from student loans to rising home prices and everything in between. I know the idea of saving for a house by giving up your $5 coffee sounds a bit unrealistic, and it is, but it's really about making small changes over time. And the small changes can really add up. So cut back on the unnecessary subscriptions. I know a lot of us are guilty of those. Cook at home, explore more budget friendly hobbies. I mean, getting outside is free. Drinks at home are cheaper than drinks at the bar. And let's just finally ditch that idea that you absolutely need to save 20% for a down payment. In reality, not even just millennials, but most people I work with are putting down way less than 20% down. With mortgage options starting with as little as 3% or 3.5% down, you can get into the market a lot sooner, so don't be afraid of mortgage insurance. As home values rise, you can strategize with your loan officer to eliminate mortgage insurance and strategize your refinance options down the line. In high cost of living areas especially, 20% is almost impossible to outsave home appreciation. And those who are putting 20% down usually have a really high paying job where they can save a ton of money each month, or they're getting a gift from a family member. Speaking of which, consider asking your parents for help. You never know. They might be willing to help. I've worked with many buyers who decided to use their wedding funds on their house and just had a small wedding instead. People definitely are getting creative. They're just figuring out what makes the most sense for them in the future. And by the way, you don't need to be entirely debt-free to qualify for a bigger home. You might not know this, but we can often exclude car loans with less than 10 payments left. But speaking of cars, please be reasonable. Having a $1,000 monthly car payment when you don't even own a home is going to lower your purchasing power by a lot. It's going to take away from money that you can be saving. Sacrificing the nice car now will give you a better future. Another important tip: don't necessarily rush to pay off your student loans if you want to buy a house in the near future. And I'm not saying don't pay off your loans, but student loan payments usually have a much smaller impact on your purchasing power than you think. Strategize with your loan officer to put a plan in place that works for you. And I'm not saying it's not a good idea to pay off your student loans, but I'm just saying those loans aren't necessarily going anywhere. If you have $50,000 saved and you need to decide between paying off your student loans or putting it towards your house, choose the house, especially if you're already paying rent. The key to buying your dream house is to get a starter home first. So start small. It doesn't need to have all the bells and whistles. It doesn't need to be a new construction home. Starting small helps you build equity now versus waiting. The granite countertops can wait. The stainless steel appliances can wait. Ask yourself, can you live in this place for 3 to 5 years? I mean, consider the alternative. Your expensive small apartment that you're already living in, you have to live somewhere, right? So you might as well be building equity and have a space of your own, and maybe it's a little bit bigger than your apartment. Building a safety net is a non-negotiable in my opinion. It's not always required to get approved for a loan, but it's just a good idea. You never know what the future has in store for you, whether it's a job loss, a sickness, injury, medical bills. It just doesn't hurt to be prepared. By the way, have you considered making more money? I know it sounds silly, but in the modern workspace, job loyalty isn't what it once was. It's no secret that one of the quickest ways to get a raise is to switch jobs, especially if it's early in your career. Just make sure to double check with your lender to make sure it won't impact your home buying plans, because sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. It really just depends on your pay structure and the loan structure. Most importantly, know the market you're in. The market for home buyers has been super competitive for the last several years, and experts don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon. For many buyers in competitive markets, it's not really a negotiation. It's a competition. Write serious offers and write competitive timelines. Get underwritten upfront during the pre-approval stage. Your lender shouldn't charge you for this or to run your credit. Close super fast. Have your realtor learn the seller's motivation and write an offer that will appeal to the seller. Maybe the seller needs to find their replacement home, but it's a competitive market. So you know what might be appealing to this kind of seller? A rent back or a lease back of say 30 or 60 days. And what that means is that you'll close on the home, you'll be the owner, and you'll rent it back to the seller for a month or two so that they can submit a competitive, non-contingent on the sale of their home kind of offer. Millennials, or anyone looking to buy a home, you've got this. don't get discouraged. Be savvy, be strategic, and always have a plan. Talk to a lender way before you start looking at homes. If you find these tips helpful, don't forget to hit the subscribe button for more advice on buying a house. Happy house hunting!